Could you say a little bit more about the use of you made the sort of cryptic comment, you very rarely see a use of proceeds that you agree with. Can you speak in general terms about what that has looked like and what you would prefer to see?
Well, I say that because it's kind of connected to the fact that often people who are entrepreneurs are fairly focused on what works for them and what they know, and because they've they drank the Kool-Aid, they're single, it's a single purpose sort of phenomena, and typically there's they don't have the sort of breadth of vision to completely understand their business. I'll circle back to a second. I won't spend much time on this. I know what your question is, but the use of proceeds goes to a larger question, is the executive summary. And anybody that I've advised on how to do this, I tell them that the first thing that they have to do is their executive summary. I don't want to see a business plan. I don't want to see anything. What I want to see is an executive summary. It's the hardest thing to do. It takes much longer than the whole big 100 pages in your plan. The 1 or 2 page executive summary it's all there, because what it forces you to, most people don't fully understand their business, even though they think they do. And when they're forced to sit down and write an executive summary, it forces them to confront those kinds of questions, especially if they have, a pest like me asking the questions after I've seen the first draft.
And the key word in executive summary is summary. A lot of the business plan software, which takes you through the process, asks you questions, you answer, then you get this pretty document. Believe it or not, you do the executive summary last, not first. More old school is do it first, because if you can't state your value proposition in a couple of paragraphs and identify the market, explain the market, how you're going to penetrate the market, and conclude with a winning paragraph all on one page, then you got to kind of tweak that. But the business plan software way to do it, the paradigm to go through that is do the whole thing and then summarize it, pulling out those key elements. Yes?
I had a question. I have a store and I'm funded now, and I wrote a business plan, and the financial part of my business plan has been so helpful to me as I progress in my business. I'm kind of thinking about the future, and when I did have my business plan, I talked to friends and potential investors, and I just wondered, I got really bogged down in what would make it look attractive to them in terms of the stock and shares and how that all worked in terms of if they did invest money, how much of the business I give to them and how that all works.
Right, so maybe comment a little bit about equity from angels and or other sources of capital panelists. How does one figure out how much equity you put on the table, and is it true that in these days people want more equity than they might have wanted in older times?
Well, you determine that by doing a valuation. So, for example, if you do a valuation and the valuation says your business is worth $1 million, and you want someone to invest $200,000 in equity, then you'd offer them 20%. They probably laugh at you because they're going to disagree with your valuation. So the whole negotiation in what you're going to give up for what you're going to get, that whole negotiation goes to the assumptions underlying the valuation. And it's the most important thing to understand in a business plan is that anybody can project anything based on whatever assumptions that you use. And when you analyze a business plan, the first thing you do is you analyze the assumptions. In the same way that I've never seen a use of proceeds that I've liked or haven't wanted to change, I've never seen a business plan where I've agreed with all of the assumptions. And usually it's that the client has hurt themselves. In other words, they've made assumptions that are not in their interest. And if they were more skillful in their analysis, they'd be able to make assumptions that would support a higher valuation. I mean, I see that often. So just to circle back to your question, though, so the way you figure out what your use of proceeds is going to be is to have a well thought through executive summary which really summarizes what it is you're doing, what are you doing, why is it better than other people, who's your competition, why are you better than your competition, and how are you going to make money, and how much you're going to make, at what rate. You know, when you get all of those things worked out, then you can work backwards and expand it out, because then what you're trying to do is you've got your general principles, and then you can work from them. But it's really a question of how do you come to what are the assumptions underlying the valuation you're giving your business. And if you do a good job with that, you'll have a negotiation, but it'll be within a range.
There may be some other sources of money that may be interesting to folks. How many of you are in the green business space, or could consider your business an effort to do something green? So NYSERDA and some of the, which is NYSERDA.com, .org rather, has rebates and incentives that are available. You might want to engage in energy audit. Go to, what is the win-win website, Gustavo? Envirolution.org, and they have a win-win campaign that can get you an audit for free, an energy audit of your organization, so you can know how to do some cost savings and where you may be eligible for money. Another sort of easy place to look for money for some of you might be your own suppliers. So in the emerging green supply chain here in Brooklyn, there are some industrial companies that want to hear from you that you have a way to target their product to a specific audience, and they might advance you goods. They may give you some support in your endeavor to sell their product in the retail space or in the wholesale space. So these are some interesting concepts.
This is another organization that you might want to check out for those who are just starting out. Maybe might not have a good credit score. It's Project Enterprise. I've always thought, they don't look at your credit, but what they do make you do is go through some sort of a curriculum or course to help you put your business plan together and make sure you're making your goals and your tasks on time. So you might get a $5,000 loan, $10,000 loan, something small just to get started and out the door, but it's a great organization. And WIBO, W-I-B-O, they have free courses that they offer where you can take to help put business plans together. And so we send a lot of folks over there as well.
And also the SBA and others have programs for minority and women-owned businesses as well. So if you are a minority and women-owned business or women-owned business, that's something that you should look to resources available. In the CUNY system, there are free advisors pretty much every CUNY school, and all the local SBAs have chapters and satellites that may be helpful to you. You had a question?
Yes, I did. You mentioned envirolution.com?
Envirolution.org.
I'm sorry?
.org. Envirolution.org.
What was the one before that you said?
NYSERDA, N-Y-S-E-R-D-A. What does it stand for, Gustavo?
New York State Energy Research and Development Authority.
Thank you. You do better than me.
Actually, it's NYSERDA.gov.
Oh, sorry, NYSERDA.gov. Thank you, Gustavo. So,
CUNY has advisors?
well, yeah, so the NYSBA has various satellite offices, as do most community development organizations, such as St. Nick's, such as the Brooklyn Business Center, which is part of St. Nick's and your host today. But at any of the community colleges and universities in the CUNY system, there are typically NYSBA centers or state development, business development centers. So there's one in Long Island City, the LaGuardia Business Development Center that's terrific. In fact, I think one of their speakers were here today. Then in the next session, there's a dialogue, I think in one of the sessions on aggregating resources. And as I speak to a panel like this, I think you have to think about aggregating your resources. So in the old world, if three of you were bakers, organic bakers, and you're in Brooklyn, the old school concept is hire a great logo guy, hire a great website guy, do some praying, spend some money, and beat each other to the race. Well, I don't know that that's the right way to go these days. These days it might be maybe cooperate together, have the Organic Bakers of Brooklyn, that's already a better logo than one of you might have stumbled upon, and then get your supply chain organized. buy together locally.